Hey, Walk the Line listeners, welcome to another episode of the Walk the Line podcast. I'll be your host, Greg Sowers. And today, for episode 40, we will be talking about the five qualities, in my opinion, that make a good winger. On last week's episode, we talked about defensemen. This week, we'll be talking about wingers. And then in future episodes, we'll probably get to a center and then maybe a goalie, if I could find a goalie who is willing to come on and talk about that aspect. So just getting started again, episode 40, five qualities of a good winger. Before we get into those five, I think it's important to mention that there are obviously different types of wingers, and finding your style play that best fits your skill set. You could be a power forward, you could be a guy who generally is scoring goals, so more of the sniper. You could have maybe you're a playmaker along the wall. Maybe you're a winger who has more defensive responsibilities depending on the system you're playing in. So just because these are five qualities that I'm speaking about today, doesn't necessarily mean you have to be, above average in all of these aspects. Maybe if you're a grinder, maybe physicality is more of your game than a guy who's generally more reliant on his goal scoring. So just wanted to mention, that before we dive in. Again, kind of sticking to be the player that you are. Don't try to be a player that you see on TV and maybe above your skill level or doesn't have the same qualities that you have. So do what you're best at. So the first one we're going to get into is the shot blocking and defensive positioning of a winger. So as a winger, and it's dependent on the system that your coach has you playing in the D zone, but generally speaking, with all wingers, you are the guy who is going out to the defenseman who gets the puck on their offensive blue line. So puck goes up to the defenseman. You want to make sure that you are getting in that shooting lane and forcing that puck back down the wall. So how do we do that? Obviously, you want to have your body in the shooting lane so you're preventing a shot from getting through to your goalie, but you're also able to use your stick positioning to force that defenseman one way or the other. As a defensive-minded coach, we want to try to avoid the puck getting into the middle of the ice in our defensive zone to prevent those high-scoring chances and high-scoring opportunities. So it's really important that our wingers, their first step, if you're on the wall, your first step is to get into the middle of the ice, get in the shooting lane, and then explode out to your defenseman in that shooting lane. That we could have a whole podcast about shot blocking techniques and ability, but for me, I'd rather our wingers stay on their feet. So I know a lot of guys will go out there and either lay down or potentially go on one knee to block a shot, but you're better off staying on your feet. That way, if you do block the shot, you're in a good position to go get that puck if it goes in a neutral zone. And likewise, if you are trying to slide to block a shot and you have that desperation play, if you block that shot, now you got to reposition yourself, get up and go get it. So, being in that shooting lane, using your stick to, that tool to force a defenseman to where you want that puck to go. And normally it's going to be your best option is you block the shot or you force that defenseman to throw it back down the wall and keep the puck to the outside. The other aspect since we're talking about the D zone and the shot blocking, I kind of paired these two together. But also, being able to help out your centerman if needed. So, as you move up in levels of hockey, probably when you start out, your main objective and goal is to cover that defenseman at the blue line. As you progress, I think, most teams are allowing the wingers to drop down lower to help out in the defensive zone on puck battles and things like that. So just make sure whatever system you're running or whatever your coach has you running, you're listening to your coach. But I think the main thing is keeping the offensive players to the outside. You're between your man and the net. And again, taking those shot lanes away. The second quality, and again, this kind of goes with every position, but more so for wingers, is the speed aspect. You're primarily playing up and down the wall. You want to make sure that you are fast enough to beat defensemen on, dump ins into the offensive zone. You want to be that first forechecker. So we want to make sure that, as wingers, we're always working on our speed and our skating ability. That also goes with, the back checking aspect. Depending where you are in the offensive zone, you got to be able to get back and get to your position as quickly as you can. When speaking, defensively or defensive tactics. So just make sure, either on the ice or off the ice, you're working to improve that power in your legs, your quickness, so you're able to get up and down the ice quicker than your teammates and obviously the opposing team. And again, as a winger, obviously this is changing with the way the game is progressing and the speed of the game, but the old school mentality as a winger, you're basically, if you're a right winger, you're staying on the right side and you're basically moving north-south the whole time. It allows for a lot of straight line skating, so just another reason to obviously develop that speed in skating on and off the ice. Make sure you're doing your sprints and plyometrics and get that explosiveness required to get up and down. The third one is, as wingers, you're in a position where you may have the puck on your stick, and you have to have that ability to make plays. Obviously, as a forward, you're expected to produce offensively. So being able to read the play, if just talking about in the defensive zone, read the play, that puck is being wrapped around the wall by your defenseman. You got to get to that wall, and now you pick up the puck on the half wall, and that defenseman, the opposing defenseman, is coming down on you from the blue line. Well, now you got a second or less to figure out, how am I going to move my feet to get out of the situation with the puck on my stick, or how am I going to make a pass to my centerman who's coming to the middle, or how am I going to chip this puck off the glass just to get it out of the zone. That's a big part for me, just thinking, again, defensively, as I'd like to have my teams, the defensive zone is the most important one because we can prevent goals, but also that's where all of our offense is going to start. I like to have wingers who can do the job of just getting the puck out of the zone. Obviously, option one is, making a tape pass. That way we're getting out of the zone with the puck on our stick. But, there's a lot of wingers out there that get the puck on the wall and then they shoot it right up to the defenseman who's standing on the offensive blue line, and now the puck's kept in for another, 30, 45 seconds. So having a winger that can grab that puck, make a quick decision, make a play, and even if that play is high and hard off the glass, it might be an icing, we might be able to go get a change, but all those decisions that a winger can make can greatly impact whether that puck gets out of the zone or not. So the first three, shot blocking and defensive positioning, kind of the same grouping there. Second one, speed and skating ability. And the third, the ability to make plays offensively and defensively, getting the puck out of the zone. Quickly, just because I forgot to kind of mention the offensive part of the ability to make plays, same kind of concept. You are the offensive player in the offensive zone on the half wall. Well, how are you going to get your teammates in the best position for a scoring opportunity? Are you going to just throw the puck on net? Are you going to move the puck down low? Are we going to cycle? A lot of offense now just comes from creativity, and we don't have a sport where you can all the time have these set plays off of face-offs. A lot of it is just being creative and making it up to create these good scoring opportunities. So make sure you have your head up, looking for that that next play. Try to think 2-3 plays ahead. Where am I going to go when I move this puck, and things like that. So the fourth one, again, kind of a common sense, and all positions should have this, but your effort level, especially as wingers, you're the guy who's in the corner battling for pucks. You need that tenacity, that want to win those puck battles, not just get in there because coach says I need to be in the corner. No, you want to get in there hard on your stick, good low body position, so you're not going to get knocked over, and put in the effort to win those battles, because if you win a 50-50 puck battle, now your team has more opportunities with the puck, and we're not playing defense as much. So the effort level from, just talking in offensive corners, the effort level to get the puck out of the zone, your effort level on the back check, all those things are really up to you. It has nothing to do with skill. You control all of your effort level. You could have the best shot, the best speed, but if you don't try hard, I don't really want a winger that's not going to work hard to get the puck out of the zone or win puck battles. So let's just make sure we're putting all of our effort in at all times. And then if you're tired, get off. And then in a minute or so, you get to go back out there and do it again. So effort level is key for any position, but I think especially for wingers. The last one, and this is just more of a, again, offensive skill, is your shot. Coming down the half wall in the offensive zone, am I going to be able to shoot this puck without stick handling? Am I going to be able to change the angle on the shot to get a better scoring opportunity? Am I going to shoot this puck off the far pad so it produces a rebound for the guy driving the net? This is something you can work on at home, your shot power and your shot accuracy. Obviously being a forward, you're going to get more shooting opportunities than your defenseman. So it's always just an extra tool that you can work on and add to your bag of skills to make yourself that much of a better player. Shoot your pucks at home. If you have some opportunity at practice before, coach starts doing drills, grab 5-10 pucks and just shoot them from the dot in the offensive zone or shoot them from the slot. Taking one more shot than your teammate or a guy on an opposing team is going to make you one shot better. So don't be afraid to, work on those things away from the rink as well. But just to recap those 5, number 1 was our shot blocking, getting those shooting lanes, defensive positioning, whatever your coach and system allows, make sure you're able to help out without giving up your responsibility to your defenseman. The second aspect was your speed and skating ability. Like I said, wingers have to get up and down the ice quickly, whether that's offensively or on the back check. Your ability. The third one is your ability to make plays. Looking at that from an offensive lens in the offensive zone, and then also the ability to make plays to get the puck out of your zone, whether it's a tape-to-tape pass or high and hard off the glass. The fourth, again, self-explanatory, should be for every hockey player who's on the ice, but you control your effort level. Win those puck battles, be willing to go out there and block those shots, be on the back check, work hard all over the ice. And then the last quality, I think, is your shot power and shot accuracy. Again, we all want to score goals. We all want to contribute to the team in some way. And a shot is something you can work on every day, all day if you wanted to, whether it's improving your strength in your wrists or your forearms, but especially at the rink, shooting 5-10 extra pucks before or after practice if coach allows. So again, that was the 5 qualities of a good winger. I thank everyone for joining me for episode 40 of the Walk the Line podcast, and I will be back next week with episode 41. Hope everyone has a great rest of their week.